Hey, everybody, we're live. We're actually waiting for the head coach of the Raiders to come out, John Gruden. This has been a shocking, to say the least. Head coach of the Raiders to come out, John Gruden. This has been a shocking, to say the least. Head coach of the Raiders to come out, John Gruden. This has been a shocking, to say the least, outcome. No other way to put it, just plain shocking. And so while I'm saying just plain shocking, and we're waiting for the media conference to start, let's take a gander at the stats from the most incredibly shocking game I've ever seen in my entire life. It was a brilliant move for Dolphins head coach Brian Flores to bring in Ryan Fitzpatrick to get the win, because Tua was effective, but he wasn't letting them play big play ball. And it's just, no other way to put it. And not only that, the Raiders defense had done a good job, I think, of using 46 style principles, which I thought was a brilliant call, putting up 8 in the box and forcing them to pass. The Raiders did as much right as a team could do to win, but, these terms like team of destiny start coming up and all this, and you start to wonder if, like, my mom said that she thought that Arden Key had been paid to do that face mask, right? And there are times when you watch these games, you wonder, God, maybe she's got a point, because that was crazy. There was no other way to describe that but that was just absolutely crazy. Straight up, it was from a statistical standpoint, it went like this. It went like Ryan Fitzpatrick was 9 of 13, 182 yards and a touchdown. Tua Tagovailoa was 17 of 22, 94 yards, 1 touchdown. Combined, as a group, they threw 35 passes and completed 26 passes for just about 276 yards and 2 touchdowns. Myles Gaskin had a 14 for 87, and he contributed over 160 yards total offense as both runner and pass catcher. And that's for the Dolphins, with their two-headed attack. In fact, the Dolphins had the kind of two-headed attack that I was hoping the Raiders would use with Carr and Mariota. I thought that would have been really, effective for the Raiders to have that, because as it was, by presenting only Derek Carr, they presented one dimension of an offense that really is multidimensional, right? And they should have eschewed how Carr would feel about a shuttle quarterback system, considered his injury and its limitations, and said, you know what, we're going to put in a package and use Mariota here and there. I think that would have been really effective. But who listens to me? So you've got Derek Carr, 21 of 34, 336 yards, an outstanding game, 1 touchdown. 300 of those 336. Nelson Aguilar had 1 incredibly scintillating play. Altogether, he had 5 catches for 155 yards. Darren Waller tacked on another 5 for 112. Hunter Renfrow, 3 for 34. Jason Witten, 2 for 12. Brian Edwards, 1 for 11. Devonta Booker, 2 for 8. Jalen Richard, 1 for 4. Henry Ruggs, no catches, but there was definitely targeted. And Runners, Josh Jacobs had 13 for 69 yards, 5.3 yard average. Richard, 9.5 yard average, 2 for 19. Booker, 6 for 11, 1.8. Henry Ruggs, 1 for 7. And then as a team, um, it was, it was definitely a case of the Raiders tacking on um, more yards than to the air, and in general performing better than the Dolphins. The Dolphins really didn't find their sea legs until Ryan came in, because Tua was great when they were mixing the runs, but and I think Cynthia Freeland was absolutely right about this on the NFL Network. They needed. He only had one completion. Tua did for Tagovailoa for one for completion for 10. They needed more. They needed big plays, and I think, again, I can't say this enough quite correctly. I think Coach Flores concluded that the only way they were going to win is if they switched up on their quarterback. And Tua's used to it. He knows he's got a lot to learn. He's got a lot of his game to develop. He knows he's going to get there. And how about that, for his performance? Hey, and I can see your comments now. Muhammad says, wow. And then he says, I must say Raiders games are entertaining to watch, but this is basic fundamentals. Explain that in a second. Then Shotbird says, as crazy as an ending as that was, I'm not even surprised as a Raiders fan. Yeah, I was texting with someone. I said, hey, Oakland, we always come back. And the person reminded me, well, they're in Las Vegas now. I thought, oh, yeah, okay. Then Jake Carr says, those last 5 minutes were entertaining as hell. Yeah, they're entertaining as hell, and they will send your stomach to hell too. Kenny G says, too bad they weren't fired, John. Whatever happens, this guy is second guessing everything now. I would have scored there and gone for 2. Shortbread says, Raiders always beat themselves every season. Literally, only losses that we didn't have control of this season were the Falcons and the Colts. And, that's absolutely true. I waver about this season, and, because of the whole pandemic, right? But I keep coming back to this. We agreed to play the game, so we have to play the game. We have to perform to the best of our abilities and not go for excuses, knowing not even because you didn't know what you're up against. All right. You do the best you can. I think this season tested the mettle of coaches, because the problem is the NFL didn't give a level playing field. They didn't say to everybody, hey, you can't have fans in the stands. So you had some organizations that allowed fans in the stands, some that didn't. Some organizations like the Raiders that were violating and getting fined, some that were, but not getting fined like the Ravens. There was a lot of unevenness, and I think that unevenness spilled over into the type of play that we had. I mean, if you consider the play between, like, say, the Lions and the Buccaneers, look, not taking anything away from the great Tom Brady, but that looked like a scrimmage. And the Lions looked like they were just playing out the string, okay? Like they didn't care. And I think it had to do with injuries. The COVID-19 really adds a lot of imbalance to teams. And we've seen it with the Raiders. But at the end of the day, it's the test of how good a coach is, isn't it? Because we started out the season on fire. I mean, what was 6-2? Beat the supposedly world-beating Saints, beat Kansas City. This was a team that was really looking great. And then the COVID-19 aided wheels started to, actually, the COVID-19 infected wheels started to come off, and the team just didn't look like it should. It just didn't. And there were many, many instances of unevenness in coaching. Still waiting for Coach Gruden. I would be, I don't think John is horrible. Okay, I'm not, and I would not do this. And a lot of people have. I wouldn't make a coaching change. I know we have already with Paul Gunther, right? But I would not. Excuse me. I would not make a coaching change. And the reason is I still hold this that when we get back to a normal schedule, you'll see the Patriots as a power again. And the reason is that they have a structure that players are used to playing within that was taken away from them. And so many of their standard bearer players were not with them. Many players, in some cases, they just got who were going to be defensive stars, opted out. Something that's easy to forget, in the stern and drum of the season is how many, and I'll just do this like this but is how many people didn't play this year because they decided to opt out for next year because of the virus. And, on top of that, I know we've got a vaccine and everything, but at this point, we have to hope and pray that we get back to normal this next season and get our economic policy act together so that teams and businesses can get the funding they need to get the aid they need to get back together as fast as possible. It's going to take that. Hey, welcome to the show, everybody. We're waiting right here for Coach Gruden to come up at this, and that is an actual live stream, so you can watch us here, vent here. I will read your comments like here, like this. It says, I really hope we get Todd Phillips. And then he says, the Raiders are more dynamic with Marcus Mariota. They are. Although keep in mind, though, Tammy, and welcome, Tammy. In my view, Marcus is great initially when he gets his adrenaline pumping and going. Then he settles into a game and he gets into situations where he's not familiar. And he always makes that one interception that makes you go, oh, man. He didn't start. That's something he started doing his second and third year with the Titans. And his confidence got shot. And so what they did, the Titans, is they brought in Ryan Tannehill. And you could see that coming right there. Okay. Oh, I see. Shredbread says, okay, thanks. Thank you. Because I was late getting out here. Thank you. Coach Gruden already spoke. Okay. And so anyway, he says Derek and Gruden are the problem. I think the problem is, let me say this. Everyone talks about what the problem is, right? But let me ask you a question. Instead of who you think should be fired, who do you think, and more important, what do you think should be done, okay, so that the team can right its ship again? That's my question to you. I think you all said that Gruden was here, but while they're waiting for Carr to come out, and maybe let's see here. Maybe we can pull up a video on Gruden from Twitter, and go from there. And so here we go. This is
bigger chances. Well, we did that against Kansas.
Okay, I found it. Hold on a second, folks. And I'm going to switch over for a second. And I promise you, when Carr comes out, I'm going to switch back over. This will only take a few minutes, all right? But let me do this. And let me do it like this, okay? And then what I'm doing right now is I'm switching streams on StreamYard, okay? So I shouldn't lose anything here. This should allow me there. And here we have, voila. Right, okay. The chair is still empty. We're not missing anything yet. I promise we won't. Oh, that camera's shaking. Let me see if I get, wait a minute. Okay, now we're going back. Hold on a second, folks.
Darren, you have not stirred the dawn with the Daily News Group. You haven't been with the Raiders that long, but you've been here long enough to go through some pretty tough endings Just about as tough as it gets.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's tough. Ain't no way around it.
This is Darren Waller.
That just hurts. Like I don't know what to say. I don't know what else to say. It hurts.
Darren, how do you rebound from that as a team? Not just, in the short term, but the long term, you're trying to improve and make next season and future seasons better than this one.
I feel like you go back with like an honest evaluation, and it's easy to look at that last play, but you want to take the good and the bad out of the game. I feel like the defense did a lot of good things this game. Proud of the way that they played. And the ending wasn't what we wanted, but I feel like if you can take out the good and the bad, you can move forward to the following week without having things linger. If you look at it honestly and take everything out of it. But yeah, I mean, it's just if you love playing football, it's not. Of course, it's a results-driven league, but us as players and as coaches, we're so, in the process that, we just need to always remember that, playing football is fun, and we have one more opportunity to do that. We're promised one more opportunity. We do not promise anything in the future, and you just go out there and view the game like that. You can bounce back and go to that game with a different perspective.
Darren, I know you guys don't make a habit of worrying about, or thinking too much about other guys' injuries, but I think a lot of people didn't think Derek was going to play tonight or could play tonight.
Right.
And there he is leaping over for a touchdown on the second possession of the game and putting you guys in position to win. What can you say about the way that he played and what energy they gave you?
Yeah, I was very proud of how Derek played tonight and just how he responded throughout the week. His attitude, he wasn't worried. He didn't wear any of that on his face or in the way that he was carrying himself. He was very focused. It was like he didn't miss a beat. And just having him out there was incredible. I saw something earlier in the week, with a graphic of all the injuries that he's had, and just he just hasn't missed games. Like there's only a couple games that he missed, and it's incredible how tough he is and just the positive energy that he brought tonight.
Aaron, I know there's a couple of different ways to handle that situation down by the goal line. A couple schools have thought situationally, but were you looking at the clock and thinking maybe we should score a touchdown here, or what was the thinking with the offense as far as the strategy that you?
Yeah, it was. You can look at it both ways, but with us, we went with draining the clock down and kicking a field goal, and you got to play complementary football and trust your defense in that situation, and that's what we did. And things like that happen. I don't think are characteristic of our defense, and will be characteristic of our defense going forward. It happened, but I don't think that defines them on this night or as a whole. I feel like hindsight is 20/20. We could have done things different, but we went with what we went with, and we felt good about it at the time.
Darren, back to the area, it's obviously a rough loss, but how much satisfaction can you take out of breaking a couple of Raiders records and doing it against a guy in Rowe who's been called the tight end eraser?
It's definitely cool. It means a lot that to break a record. I don't think I've ever even done anything like that before. It's cool, and I appreciate everything that goes into that. The quarterback throwing it, the time that he needs to throw it from the offensive line, the receivers that are running their routes and clearing out areas for me to make a play. So it's a lot of people that goes into that. And, I feel like playing against Eric tonight definitely brought the best out of me. He has a lot of coverage ability, being a former corner. I think we were both freshmen. We played against each other in the Sun Bowl, and he was like a post safety at the time. So he's just like a very versatile player and can do a lot of things. So I feel like just his ability alone brought the best out of me. And, it was a battle out there between us.
Darren, you're kind of talking about how this is a bit uncharacteristic of the defense. Would you say even that despite how the results went down the way they did, that you think that this could be good in terms of it being a learning experience to try to teach your young team how to close games better?
Absolutely. Definitely a great learning experience. Something that, when when you feel this, you know what it's like and you know how it feels and you know what you don't want to feel that anymore. So I feel like the defense can definitely build off of this and learn how to close games, because once we get out there and start closing games like I know they're capable of doing, you know, that puts this team on a whole nother level. And I'm excited to see them do that, and I know that they will do that in the future.
Hey, Darren, I'm sorry. How would you describe the highs and lows of the season so far?
Man, that's just life, man. That's football. That's the NFL. There's moments of jubilation, and you know, people are pumping the Super Bowl bandwagon, and you know everything's great. And there's moments where it's just like it's crushing, like the losses that you have, and you know it's hard, and you know to go through all these things for 17 weeks, 20 weeks, including preseason and things like that. It's like it takes a lot of mental toughness. It takes a lot of just integrity to go through a season and continue to show up regardless of the results. And that's why I love being part of this team.
Aaron, Leroy Damian, USA Today. There were several times in this game, and indeed of late, you guys the offense gets right there, right at first and goal, really close to the goal line, and settling for these short field goals, and especially right at the end there. How hard is it for you, being, you're having these dominant games like you've had like the last 4 games, and this one especially, not to be like, put it in my hands, put this moment in my hands, and I won't let you down?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like any skill player, individual player would love that. But at the end of the day, I trust what the coaches are putting into action, putting into plan. And that's how it's going to go down. We're going to live by that and die by that. Of course, I want to be ready whenever a ball does come my way. It could be a play that's geared for me. It could be a play that's not geared for me, but it could end up coming to me off a scramble drill or something like that. So I just focus on staying ready whenever an opportunity comes to me, so I don't have to get ready.
Thanks, everyone. Thanks, Darren.
Appreciate it.
Up next is Derek.
It's just Derek's up next, so should be coming momentarily. We're looking at your comments, and I do think here's Derek.
All right, go ahead, Jerry.
Hey, Derek McDonald. You've been here 7 years, and you've seen your share of games slip away, sometimes when you're on the field, sometimes when you're just watching. Is this as hard as any of them?
Yeah, this one might be the hardest.
Definitely. I agree with Derek.
That's tough. It's a tough way to go out, especially with all the emotion of the week for me. Just being able to play this game, I'm just so thankful, and then to watch it go like that. I'm sick for our organization. I'm sick, for our defense. I'm sick for our team. I'm sick, for all those guys. My heart feels for them. My heart feels for our fans. To be so excited. We take the lead and then, then it's gone. I feel bad for our fans. And it's tough, Jerry. It's not for everybody, but this business, like I always tell people, it's not for everybody, but it is for me. And I'm going to keep fighting. I'm going to keep doing what I do. I'm going to keep doing my job to the best of my ability, controlling what I can control, and keep it pushing, man. And I'm going to enjoy life. That's what I'm going to do.
Eric, there's a couple of schools of thought down there in that situation. Situationally, you go for the touchdown that they're trying to give you. You try to make them burn clock and burn timeouts. Were you a little concerned with what you guys had, or was that everyone that was on the same page with that one?
Yeah, I'm with Vinny. I know that you can think of a million different scenarios, and the way we could have handled that, and I thought we did it absolutely perfect. I don't regret it. You take all their timeouts away. You take all the time off the clock. As much as you think, and you just, that one, you just expect to win that game. It's always this business. Lord knows, I know if the outcome isn't what we want, there's going to be a lot of questions, right? But the way Coach handled that was perfect. His plays were perfect. His communication, coaching staff was perfect. The The only thing we regret is not finishing it in a win.
Hey, Derek, obviously you're a veteran at this point. You've been through highs and lows in your career, but you guys have a really young team. When it comes to you as a veteran and just collectively teaching them how to move forward and improve from this, what do you tell them? What kind of messages do you try to draw home?
Oh man, I go to these guys. There's a lot of, like you said, there's a lot of young guys on this team, and again, we're it sucks to say, but we're building something, and sometimes you have to do that with young pieces. And for some of us old guys, little things can get frustrating at times, but I've been there. I've been in their shoes. And so I just try my best to encourage them and let them know that not all days feel like this in this league. It's not always like this. Like you said, I've had plenty of highs, plenty of lows in this league, just like everybody. And crap happens in the NFL. But what can't change is your attitude and the way you come to work every day. As soon as that starts to change, you've been defeated. And I've caught myself in that place sometimes where you start getting a little bit more angry or this or that. And you just got to be you. You got to be yourself, and you got to give it everything you got. And at the end of the day, if you're supposed to be here and play, you're supposed to be here and play. If not, you try and figure it out another way. That's all it is. And if you spend too much time thinking about what everybody else thinks or what everybody else has to say, that's not what got you here in the first place. So I just try and encourage them in that way. That this is not for the faint of heart. This is not for the weak-minded people. Being a Raider is for tough, hard-nosed people. That's for sure. When we started to, go on a run and win some games and things like that, everyone got a feel of what it's like, and then you get punched in the mouth and kicked to the dirt a little bit. You get a feel of what that's like too, and it's hard for me and some of the older guys, obviously, do that again and have those conversations again. But like I said, man, I'm a Raider, bro, and I'm gonna give this place everything I got all the time. I'm gonna encourage these guys all the time, and we're gonna be all right. I've been there. I've been through this just like they have.
Yep.
Jared, when did you know you were going to be able to go, and how did you feel out there?
Friday morning, after the game on Thursday, I told Coach, I said, you asked me one thing when you showed up, just be available. And I said, I'll be available. I'll play this week. And I sent him a video of me downstairs doing some drops and moving in the pocket, things like that. I didn't tell him how much it hurt to do that, but I told him I'd be all right. And throughout the week, our training staff did a fantastic job. I thank the Lord, for keeping it together for me tonight with whatever's going on. But our training staff did a fantastic job of helping me get ready to play in this game and finish my season. This finishing this season means a lot to me. This hasn't been everything we wanted as a team, but I really want to finish this one out.
Last one, Vic.
Hey, Derek, did it take you a while to get warmed up tonight? And how limited were you in terms of your mobility?
Yeah, I mean, my top gear isn't my top gear right now. If I even have one, jokingly. But that scramble drill to Nelly is about all I had, at that moment. I remember coming to the sideline and I just wish I was 100% because there was a few times where I was like, man, I feel like I could have created a little bit longer, or got around the edge and things like that. So
he admits playing hurt.
It's tough, but we were able still to, go out and score 25 points on a team that gives up only 18 a game. They're the top 2 defense in the league. So I was thankful for that because it would have broke my heart if I hindered our team in any way, on a certain play or things like that. And I'm sure I'll watch the game and it'll like, dang, I wish I could have done that or that. But I was just thankful, Vic, that I was able to be able to play and help our team a little bit.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you all. Oh, buddy.
He just admitted, I'm processing this, okay? He just admitted, Derek Carr just admitted that his groin injury from the last game affected this game. All right. I mean, I don't think the team is pathetic, but I thought that was pathetic because he basically told us, hey, he said he played hurt. All right. Which means that he didn't give the team. Hold on a second. Let me hold on a second. Let me get rid of that, folks.
And the Raiders fall to the Chargers 30-27 in overtime here at home. Welcome into Raiders Game Day, presented by America First Credit Union. Aaron Coscrelli alongside my guys, my Raider fullback Marcel Reese with you, my lockdown corner and Eric Allen. Gentlemen, it is good to see you.
That was from the 18th. That was from the last game. But I want to hear what Gruden has to say before I just go off, because I'm about to lose my mind here. I cannot believe. All right, hold on a second. Tammy, it's worse than that, okay? He admitted he played hurt. Look. He admitted he played hurt. Kenny says it wasn't good enough to win, Kenny, because he admitted there are plays he missed. All right? And so my thought is, he says, hey, either way, Zinni, he played well enough to win. And he says blown by coaches' calls. You're right. Carr didn't grab Fitzpatrick's face mask. I agree. But it's a totality of things, okay? And he said, just for my take. No, your take is extremely valuable, Kenny. As is everyone's. He goes, he only played because he was scared Mariota would take his job. That, okay, you know what? I agree with that comment right there. Okay? He's got him in his head, okay? And he says, we're all here for you. He goes, Carr is scared of Mariota. He is. He says, do you think it was irresponsible move by the team? Which move? I mean, in terms of Carr? Yeah, I do. Let me get Gruden's comments because I didn't hear them. I was downstairs talking to my mom about the game. She was pissed off with Arden Key. She thought that Arden Key had money to throw the game. Okay. Anyway, here's Gruden.
Well, we did that against Kansas City. Honestly, we scored with a minute 15 left, and Mahomes went down and beat us. And we felt the play was to eliminate all the clock and all the timeouts and put them back with they're back against the wall with 19 seconds left. I don't regret it. I didn't want Fitzpatrick to have the ball. He was doing a good job in the second half. I didn't want him to be in a 4-down situation. He's a gunslinger. He was hot. That's all I can say. I don't regret it one bit. I just regret the results.
That's all you can do. That's what, look, folks, this was a freaking crazy game, okay? There's no other way. Sorry about that, folks. My screen just wigged out on me like, whoop. That was freaking weird. It was just like I was talking and I was saying that. Let me get the screen back. As I was trying to find Gruden's talk. Let me explain this, okay? Look, they just freaking, and I'll put this, something. What happened was I was talking with you and all the whole computer just shut up. Just like, what? Okay. And then it was like, hey, I'm gone. And so this has happened before. So rather than panic, I just simply restarted the computer, activated the browser, went to StreamYard. And the beauty about StreamYard is you actually never go away. Okay. So you guys had something to look at, and that's what happened. All right. So he says, I'm sorry, but Gruden, he needs to go. And he said, probably YouTube police. No, YouTube police. It was the Gremlins. Okay. He says, I agree with the Mariota hype putting Carr on notice. Next year, we either pay Carr $21 million or Mariota $7 or $8 million. So we'll see what happens. We should use next week to see what Mariota has. Hey, Tammy, that's what happened. The computer just went blank and it's back. And Seth agrees with you. And they choose me, says, why did they use that defensive play call at the end of the game? All I know is I thought with 19 seconds left, that was it. And what we just witnessed, I'll say this also. The Nelson Aguilar play was luck. It was luck. It was luck. I know it was luck. Derek knows it was luck. It was like he was actually, presiding over his own funeral and watching himself come up from the grave. Like, oh my God, this is happening. Okay. It was like the immaculate reception in a weird kind of way, but it put the Raiders ahead. But just when the Raiders got ahead, they I think psychologically took the gas off. That's what happens. If you want to put all of this together, it could be summed up, in my view, as, phew, we just escaped the loss. Rather than, hey, look, the game is not over. We play until the final whistle, right? And so what happens is that when you have play absent that mentality, you get face mask pulling, okay? When you have the play absent that mentality, you get defenders out of position, allowing a per man to make a catch and then run for a touchdown. When you have players playing out of position, not paying attention, you get fake punts that succeed to pick up big yardage. All right. There were a lot of plays that added up to, hey, were you not paying attention? Hey, were you not focused? Okay. And I cannot at all take away from the impact of the coronavirus in all of this, because you have a different mix of players. And with each player, you get someone that maybe didn't play 2 weeks ago, maybe was in a case here or there, was, bagging groceries as an essential worker. And then all of a sudden they get the call. I mean, you have all these combinations of stories, but what they add up to is uneven preparation. So the coach has to make up for that by having a simple approach and a directive that everybody follows. And I think that to the degree a coach doesn't have that, you don't see wins, or you see huge collapses like the Detroit Lions. The Detroit Lions are not a team. I have never seen that bad a team, represent the NFL brand. It wasn't so much that Tom Brady did a great job. The Lions were a scrimmage team. It was like 7-on-7. Okay. I mean, he says exactly this. COVID, right? Well, Brian says something I disagree with. He says that every team has went through the same hardship. Every team didn't go through the same hardship because they had different rules. Yes, the same COVID hardship, you're right. But the league allowed teams to handle it differently. And when you do that, what do you get? You get different outcomes, different performances. So I blame the NFL for not working like heck, even though I give the league credit for what it did. Because I said to Brian McCarthy, the league spokesperson, who's a good friend, and I was saying, hey, how are you all going to deal with this rising tide of cases? And he said, Zenny, this is on a case-by-case basis, and we're just going to handle it as it goes. They were riding a bucking Bronx. Seth says, you would think that they would learn from these letting off the gas plays. Yeah, but it's hard to learn. See, here's the problem. We're used to a cohesive or mostly cohesive squad, right? But in this instance, you didn't have that. How many? Look, Richie Incognito out, right? Trent Brown gone, right? I mean, look at the line. Look at how many changes the offensive line has gone through this year versus last year. It's crazy, right? So you get that, you get a different level of play. And he says, since John is still going to be here next year, let's all hope he's got all his mess finished up this season. If he does this again next season, him and the GM need to pack their bags and hit the road. Tammy McDaniel says, Gruden outsmarted himself. That's the problem. To lose the Chargers, horrible at calling down at the goal line, and this game not scoring a TD and put more pressure on Fitzmagic. Then he says, Gruden plays way too – he does. I think both of you are correct. John plays it way too safe, and I think that he's also too sensitive, more sensitive than he would have been before to Derek's ego. What Derek Carr – what should have happened with Derek Carr is what Brian Flores did with Tua, right? But Tua can handle it. You know, he was a college star at Alabama, all this stuff. You know, he knows he's got a lot to learn. Similar, but on the other hand, look, Derek, and we heard this before the season started, he talked about how he had been disrespected. Remember that? So he was reading the Instagram posts, reading social media, which to me you shouldn't do if you're in his position because you're going to go bonkers. Remember Donald, our offensive tackle, Donald, not Sterling, but Donald. Oh boy, my memory. I'm going to type this real quick. Number 62, Donald, Raiders tackle. Donald Penn. Remember Donald Penn, who famously went off on Sal, one of the Raiders fans, because Sal was making fun of him on Instagram. They got into an Instagram beef. So Sal is at the Coliseum, like saying, hey, it's me, bro, come on. Donald Penn drives by, because he's coming out after the game, right? In his black on black Bentley Continental, stops his Bentley Continental to get out and fight a dude who's basically worth nothing monetarily and is a kid. All right. That's when you're out of your head. But Carr simply was reading. And before Mariota even came up, guess what? Carr's afraid of getting criticized. Oh, he thinks no one respects him. He says, put some respect by my name. All right. Well, all right. So he said, okay, Jenny says, I tweet that score for to go. He says, I agree overall, the NFL didn't handle COVID nearly as well as the NBA. Miami was given, you take the TD, take it. Okay. Penn, remember, thank you. Donald Penn, thank you. 72, not 62. Thank you, Brian. Right. Penn. Penn. Okay. So Gruden said in 2018, if he couldn't get the job when he wouldn't take the Raiders money. He did say that. And he hasn't got the job done, but here's the problem, okay? I think that the Raiders have a gigantic other problem. And that gigantic other problem is that they moved to Las Vegas and they have to win a new fan base. Not just win a new fan base by playing, but they have personalities. They want to go around town so people can get to know them. So it will hurt their efforts in the middle of the pandemic when they're trying to maintain sponsorships and keep sponsors happy. To all of a sudden say, well, Derek Carr, you got to go. Or, well, John, you've got to go. Because each one of them have new sponsorships that they've started in Vegas. And you would say, well, so what? But I'm saying the Raiders have an additional financial responsibility in Vegas that they didn't have in Oakland. They're responsible for a number of bills that have to be paid at the stadium. The cost of only part of the cost of the stadium, keep this in mind, is covered by the bond issue of $750 million. Even that has its problems. But the rest of it is money that the Raiders have to pay back. For example, that Bank of America loan of $650 million plus LIBOR interest. They have no events coming in. That's money they don't have to pay the power costs, the maintenance costs. There are reasons why, for example, they shut off the camera that's over at the Delano that used to point across I-15 where you could see the scoreboard. Do you realize you haven't seen the scoreboard all year long? And do you realize that with every live broadcast, no one has showed you the live giant video screen board that's supposed to be working? It's because it doesn't work. Okay, that's because it's not ready. The stadium technically is not finished. All right. And the pandemic has hampered the ability to get all their money they need to pay to get certain minor issues taken care of. The pandemic happened at a bad time, but also a good time because they didn't have this full crew of 65,000 fans basically beating on it. All right. The bad part about it is that you really don't know how this stadium is going to behave when it gets a full complement in it for, like for preseason or concert, right? That's a bad situation to be in. So I think bad situation. Must go for TD, no timeouts left. Gruden don't got it no more. I was looking forward to Marcus Mariota playing. He makes the Raiders offense more exciting to watch. True. Brian says, Tammy, I agree. Last week was exciting. Hey, everybody, welcome to the show. With Mariota out there. But it's 3 quarters. He better run it. One moment, please. I'll be right. I just got to take this. I'm going to put my on mute. At any rate, he says, Tammy, I agree. Last week was exciting with Mariota out there, but 3 quarters he's better at running, but Carr is handling a better pass. Carr is a better passer. That's why there should have been the shuttling quarterback thing, like Tom Landry did with Craig Morton and Roger Staubach, right? Kevin KD. Kevin says, how you doing? Kevin says, if Clark County could have foreseen an enormous disaster like COVID-19, would they have approved the subsidy for the Raiders UNLV Stadium in the first place? No, you know what they would have done? They would have, that's a very good question, Kevin KD. They would have forced the Raiders to take the $550 million subsidy because it was easier to pay for than the $750 million one. With the $550 million subsidy that was advanced, that Mark Bedane said, no, we're not going to do that, and they threatened to walk away from, that would have provided a bond debt that could have been handled, and the bond debt reserve could have paid for and allowed them to ride out the storm longer, right? But they didn't do that. They asked for what they had to be the largest subsidy in sports history, and there's not going to be a problem, Zinni, and you're wrong, Zinni, about the 1.5 to 1 debt coverage ratio. You don't know what you're talking about. We're not going to, and the tax rate isn't too small when it was. And then as soon as they put the dang bond out there and they put the bonds out to sale, what happened to, a few weeks later? Bazoomy. Guess what? They had that's right. They had no evidence other than the fact as KNLV reported that the money wasn't coming in as fast. And that is why they had to let go of Khalil Mack. And that's why they didn't re-sign him. And that's why they didn't re-sign Amari Cooper, because the pay-go the Raiders were collecting went to help build the stadium. That was the amount that they collected before the bond issue hit. Okay. And it was about $20 million short. That was the problem. And they couldn't turn around and get it from anybody else other than, their own pockets. Why? Because there was Stadco, Stadium Corporation, Stadco or the Raiders. All right. Back to your comments. I'm loving reading these. Leonidas says, I always felt Mark brought Gruden for marketing tool. He did. He did. And, I have to give Mark credit. He created the Raider image. So that was, I thought, a brilliant move. I just have to say that. Clifton Bolden says, do you think this forces Mark to sell the team? I don't think this will, but I think the pandemic will. And I think the scenario would be Adelson buying it for his kids. And then when he buys it, right, he would use part of that money that he purchases for, this is just speculation, to help Clark County relax its debt. That would be his real gift. That would be a parting gift, almost end of life gift to for generations. Okay, that's possible. The stadium is absolutely gorgeous, no question about it. It is beautiful. It's a Raider image. It's Vegas. It does MGM proud when it has a sign up there. Wish you were in Oakland, but hey, Oakland doesn't have its economic development gap, act together. So, I got over that a while ago. But the defense is bad. He says, the city of Oakland ever getting an NFL team again is a real question. The city of Oakland will get an NFL team in the future. Yes. But the city of Oakland has to get its economic development act together. We are a Keystone Cops routine, and blaming our bad fortune on the Raiders' lack of good faith is not going to absolve us of the problem that we were incompetent. All right. Too much of what we do is without a process. It's heavily politicized, and it looks more mafioso than Vegas does. I'm sorry, it just does. And I'm talking about people who are friends of mine, but I am sick and tired of seeing the city stumble all over itself all the time. And even now during the pandemic, it's doing that. And I told the mayor, and I told everybody who would watch or listen, I said, hey, if you're going to do an economic plan, you don't say you're going to release a plan in 4 to 6 months for the pandemic. We have people who need money right now. I said that in May. All right, May. I don't have to tell you what's happened since May, okay, and where we are now. And how many businesses? The Alley had to go hunting for money because it was $75,000 in the hole. They raised it in 1 week. I was part of that. Bravo. We have a lot of people in the Bay Area who are willing to help. But hey, look, even they have so much money, okay? But I'm getting off the getting back to your yes. And here's the other reason, aside from Oakland itself, is the enduring economic richness of the Bay Area. For all those people that say, oh, the Bay Area is going to go downhill, it's too expensive and to that, I remind you of one thing the Bay Area is blessed with that few other regions have. Smart, innovative people and a society that allows them to be themselves, okay? That's why we keep producing innovation after innovation after innovation. That's just a fact. I'm down here in Georgia. The society has its certain charms, but it's just not the Bay Area, all right? It just isn't. And so Oakland probably not going to get, I disagree. He says, I agree, City of Oakland blew it with the Raiders if they don't get it together and lose the Athletics. Yeah, I think here's the thing. The Athletics have one thing going for them the Raiders did not have. The Athletics truly want to be in Oakland so bad, they got the signature of the governor of California for an initiative that, when it is activated, will net them $1.4 billion in subsidy for the stadium in Jack London Square in the Howard Terminal area, okay? So the Raiders, had they minded their P's and Q's, would have gotten something like that, but the Raiders didn't. The Raiders were too busy playing, hide the intent, fool the person, do the political head fake sort of thing to focus on Oakland and realize that in Oakland and California, they would have gotten the riches more so than they got in Las Vegas. Yes, I said that. Okay. Yes, I said that. All right. So he says, but all the companies are Bay Area movies. No, they're not. No, they're not. And I remind you of something, Kenny. I'm glad you said that. Look, California's used to hemorrhaging companies. It happens. Look, California didn't start, and particularly the Bay Area, it didn't start being expensive. It's always been expensive. I remember, and I'll tell you what my lesson was. It goes back to, I think it was 93. Before that, we lost the competition for the superconducting super collider. It's a gigantic atom smasher that we were sure California was going to get the contract for, lost to Texas. Oh, everybody predicted California's demise. Oh, my Lord, everything's going to go pot. Oh, no. You know what happened? High tech became a thing. Personal computers took off. And that culture that developed that gave us such shows later in life as Silicon Valley and everything in terms of, and then blogs like TechCrunch created much of the world that we are in today. You turn on television, all those apps on there can either be directly or indirectly traced back to the Bay Area. That's something else. No other region can lay that claim, not even Texas. So Texas loses. So Oracle is not moving the whole of its operations to Texas. Okay. Elon Musk is building his spaceships in Texas. Great. He's still going to be in California. He's not giving up his house in California. He's trying to make a political statement. California is too freaking big. All right. It needed a correction. It needs government money to sustain the people that are in it. But don't ever think for a moment that California or the Bay Area have seen their last days. The location, its natural location won't permit it. The culture won't permit it. California's culture is too permissive. It always has been. You have to live in other parts of the world and the country to realize, how different it is and how much it fosters an environment of intellectual creativity. That's the real strength of the Bay Area. Do you realize the Bay Area is actually the 19th largest economy in the world? I mean, come on, okay? So, you know what? Oracle, have fun in Texas. Elon Musk, have fun in Texas. Who else is there? All right. There aren't many. There's 5 or 6 maybe you heard of, but there's 1,000 corporations, thousands of them. All right. So, whatever. Okay. I say my thought, I wouldn't worry about it. I'm trying to find right now. I'm going to go back to Twitter. I'm trying to find, or maybe it's up on Raiders. I think it actually may have rendered now. So if we go to YouTube, I'm going to see if I can go back and call up. Oh, here it is. Okay, this is it. I found it. This is John Gruden's post-game reaction. 6 minutes. Let me get this, okay? Because I didn't see that part, as I was saying earlier. My mother and I were talking about this crazy, or as Steve Mars says, wild and crazy game. And he would say that. So here's John Gruden.
We had a penalty on top of that, inexcusable. And I'll be happy to answer any questions I can.
John, what was the conversations that you guys were having on whether to choose for the touchdown or settle for the field goal right there? And did you at any point think about, okay, they're giving us a touchdown here, let's just go ahead and take that and take our chances?
Well, we did that against Kansas City. Honestly, we scored with 1:15 left, and Mahomes went down and beat us. And we felt the play was to eliminate all the clock and all the timeouts and put them back with they're back against the wall with 19 seconds left. I don't regret it. I didn't want Fitzpatrick to have the ball. He was doing a good job in the second half. I didn't want him to be in a 4-down situation. He's a gunslinger. He was hot. That's all I can say. I don't regret it one bit. I just regret the results.
Coach, we go back to that play where you could have scored the touchdown and maybe added a 2-point conversion. Then even if they did drive down, they probably would have only.
There's a lot of ways to. I'm not going to interrupt anybody, but I'm sorry, but there's a lot of ways to look at this. But 19 seconds left. on your own 25-yard line with no timeouts. I've called plays a long time. The probability of getting that done is remote. And
Right.
there's no guarantee if they get the ball that they don't go for two. I'm not going to get into all the scenarios. We played it exactly like we wanted to play it. It was a heck of a job by our offense closing the deal, I thought, but unfortunately they made a desperation play and the penalty was horrific.
John, this is Hondo Carpenter. Can you please talk about Derek's performance with the groin injury and just the way he played, please?
Yeah, I thought he did all he could do. I thought he showed a lot of toughness. You know, obviously not converting on third down. I think his mobility perhaps played into that a little bit. This is a great football team, a great defensive team, as good as we've seen all year. They throw every look at you that you can prepare for. I thought Derek did a great job, and I thought he did enough to win tonight.
Jerry?
John, when they switched quarterbacks to Fitzpatrick, how did that change the look for your defense? You guys are defensively been having your way for most of the game.
Well, I think we just missed a couple tackles. The running back got out of trouble, made a 60-yard touchdown after we scored and missed the extra point. And Fitzpatrick gives his guys chances that most quarterbacks don't take. He's willing to throw the ball down the field in tight windows. Once again, we didn't register a turnover on defense. The pass rush wasn't good enough. And he got us. He got us.
Hey, John, was Josh Jacobs hurt during the game? How did that affect the play calling?
Yeah, a little bit. You know, he had an IV. He wasn't feeling real good coming in here tonight. They're a hard team to run the ball against. Like I said, you know, defensively in the last several weeks of the season, they've been one of the very best teams I've seen on tape.
Coach, is there anything Darren Waller does that's amazing anymore, or is just expected all the time?
No, he's a great player, and he plays such a major role in so many different positions. It's one of the best players I've ever seen play football.
Looks like that's it. Thanks, Coach.
All right, guys.
Yeah, so that's Gruden. So let me go back. First of all, let me take that away and then go back and answer your questions and go back and Tammy asked me a question. Zenny, what do you think the Raiders need to do to turn the Raiders around? I think they need to change their defensive philosophy, and I think they need to go more with exotic bear fronts, and I think they need to have a defensive coordinator that understands how, and I recommend Derek Mason. And I'm going to say something I never thought I'd say before, but the way the league is changing and with how quick backs are, I think gap control is far more important today than penetration. And I've always been a fan of the Cowboys flex defense because even though it's single gap control. So if Landry caught his players, you know, just rushing in to down the running back for a loss like that, he would get angry in his way and say, look, let your players bring the running back to you rather than you going after the running back unless you're absolutely certain you've got them trapped, okay? Tom Landry was big on team defense. And a lot of the times the Raiders, this is the problem, the Falcons have the same problem too, among other teams. They have hero defense. In other words, the hero makes the play. But what happens is that the hero is so busy trying to make the play where you down somebody for a loss in the backfield that they miss or they get out of position and it screws up the assignments for everybody else. But we need disciplined gap defenses. That if that calls for playing two gaps at certain parts in the line, depending on the defense, so be it. If it calls for a multiplicity of defenses that, you know, take a little time, a lot of times take a little time to learn, but are effectively say that the nose tackle two gaps and you have gap control, you have a outside gap with either tackle. If you're going to play a 5 front, then fine. But we need to focus on gap control rather than gap penetration. And I think that's the biggest problem. Rob Marinelli is a gap penetration guy, and that's fine. But controlling a gap has to become the more important aspect. And I think some coaches feel like, hey, if I do that, I lose pass rush power, and I get that. There has to be risks taken in terms of bump and run and pressure that comes from the outside in terms of a pass rush. And so you have to sort of subordinate. And sometimes you have to be, analytical and say, hey, look, I'm calling for a run. And then if you don't get the run, you don't get the run. But have a safeguard. Look, the problem is this. Not every individual defense is the perfect one. There's no such thing. You could scare yourself into playing a plain vanilla defense and saying, I'm just going to use a bend but don't break philosophy. But sometimes you can do that and you end up losing games. In the case of Gunther, he did some of that, a lot of that, really, arguably. But what he did with respect to the Raiders' fronts is he used these wide fronts. We was giving up these huge gaps in the offensive line. I could look at a play and before the ball was snapped, I would say, you know what? Off tackle will work against that. Oh, by the way, they've got wide tackles wider than the guards. They're leaving the quarterback able to, run a quarterback sneak or a quarterback delayed draw, right? And that would happen. That happens a lot. The difference this time was the Raiders did not play that vulnerable defense. They played a lot of bear look coming out. They designed their defense to deal with Tua. But then Flores switched everything up and brought in Fitzpatrick. And at that point, knowing that Brian can't run, then you switch back to that NASCAR type of pass rush, right? And then blitz. And the Raiders didn't do that as much. They got gashed. So you got to know when to switch up. The last 19 seconds of the game that were so crazy, I can't blame anybody for that. I think it would be irresponsible to do that. I was really proud of the game the Raiders came out and played when no one gave them a chance to win, okay? I didn't. Certain Raider players were watching that I know didn't. We talked about it earlier, Raider legends in the week. They didn't think we were going to win. And we came out, boom, 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 okay? It was a great show. Unfortunately, there are these but-fors that have hurt us all year long. The but-fors and the what-ifs. But I'll take this, okay? This is a weird year. Give everybody another chance in a more stable environment, which we hope next season will be. And then let's make our determinations about, how to, as they say, whether or not we should change things. But I'm for this. Everybody can say fire X, Y, or Z. Off with his head, king off, right? Like King Henry VIII, right? But what I want to know is, fine, what are you going to do to replace? Who? Not so much who, but what? Names are one thing. But that's why I want Derek Mason, because, gap control. All right? So that's what I think, Tammy. That's what I think. Let me get to the other comments. But I appreciate that one and asking. And Sean Watson said that. Got that one. Got this one. Carr was not moving from the pocket. I agree. Derek made a mistake in admitting that his pain kept him from making certain plays. That means he hurt the team. That's a bad thing. Okay? That's a bad thing. I mean, I'd like to know what you all think about it, but I'm not happy that he said that. Because my thought is, hey, you know what? If that's the case, you should have been taken out. Mariota should have been taken in, and we should have a movement, pocket. And then when they start adjusting to you and they play the run up, guess what? We put Derek back in to throw, right? Having said all that, I will say this. Derek Carr had a whale of a passing game. There's no question about it. But if he is aching here and there, bringing Mariota in for a couple of plays would have been a nice change-up. If anything, just to let Carr rest a little bit so he was more effective on other plays. Tammy says, super cool. I think you were talking about this. Marcus should have started. Yeah. And then Seth says Gruden put a hurt Carr in while he had a trump card in Mariota. Didn't even put Mariota in some plays to disrupt the Miami defense. The Dolphins put Fitzpatrick in and boom, they win the game. I couldn't have said it better myself. Old school football. Yeah, Tammy says, I agree, Seth. Gruden is stubborn to make adjustments. He is. He says, Miami did what they needed to do to win, and we had a crazy read option QB, and we didn't realize that talent to keep Miami honest. Absolutely. And you want to know something, Seth? This is something that has been bugging John a long time. I remember we got Josh Johnson in free agency, and I asked him at the NFL owners meeting, I asked him if he intended to use John in kind of a read option or movement. He said, yeah. And then he didn't. So it's kind of like, the head coaches I found in the NFL that keep their jobs the longest are the ones that are really the best at telling you what they think you want to hear. Like Bill O'Brien was great at that. Great guy. Great. All of these dudes that I'm talking about can run for office like that and get elected. Look at Tommy Tuberville. All right. So my point is, it says trade Carr. Raiders. Carr didn't lose the damn game. No, he didn't. Derek did not lose the game. He did not. The defense lost the game, a bad play. Remember when the schedule came out and when they all said the Raiders have all this home game in the season? The Raiders have not been good at home all season. No, because you know why? Kenny, don't you think? Let me ask everybody. What do you think the impact was on the season by not having crowds in the stands, right? To have some semblance of the atmosphere that was at the Coliseum. I'm telling you, if this were a normal season and Oakland was the city rather than Las Vegas, I firmly believe this would have been a playoff year. Okay? People rocking in the black hole, me getting my gigantic taco salad over on the east side, everybody just rocking and rolling and everything. That would have been the year. This year would have been able to in that year. But think about that baseline, and then the reality that we got, which was anything but baseline, right? Okay. So they haven't been good. But it's eerie to watch a game. There's nobody in the stands yet. You're hearing crowd noise. I'm like, am I going nuts? That was odd, man. It's still odd. Why play? Exactly. He played well enough to start, but not well enough to guarantee a win. He played well enough to almost win. Okay. I'd rather any young coach without a 10-year deal over Gruden. Tammy says, I agree, Carr should not have played. Marcus was a one-man wrecking crew, should have played. And see, I'm a fan of the shuttling quarterback because I still think that Derek Carr can be one of the best passers in the league on a great day. And not only that, Tammy, I have to say this. Marcus still has this annoying tendency to throw that pass that gets picked off. Derek had no interceptions, okay? Marcus has that tendency. He's good for at least one of those a game. People make jokes about Jameis. I'm sorry. Marcus is that guy that does that. Oh, Jameis, you can blame the system, right? But with Marcus, he has the same mistake that he takes from coordinator to the coordinator. And it is, once he gets down to that second or third read, he has a tendency to throw the pass inaccurately, and it gets picked off. And it happens a lot. So it's like, dude, now his running makes up for that. But that'll tear your hair out. Just saying, okay? They should have stayed in Oakland for at least one more season. Agreement, Kevin KD. Or two. He says, or two. I think he said, or two. And I think, let's see, we got Tammy says the Raiders, what? The Raiders have the best fans, period. Yep. The defense sucks. No way Fitzpatrick should have made. No, you're right, Raiders. He sliced and diced us, man. Oh, 0 for 10 on third downs. Yep. Is the Raiders GMG out safe? Well, I think Mike has done a good job. And I think that, look, you can bring in player after player after player, but when the same problems keep creeping up on defense, you have to stop looking at the players and start looking at the coach. Someone else had said, hey, you know what? We need new players. Well, how many years do we have to go through this whole new player stuff until we happen to play Russian roulette and we get it right? You have to know what we're doing. We built this defense during the COVID, what turned out to be the coronavirus period, to beat Kansas City. And let's look at the bright side, folks. That's what happened. Okay. Then I argue COVID-19 took over. The injuries on top of the other injuries, we had our weaknesses along with coaching mistakes, and we got what we got. Should Gunther have been fired? Yeah, but you know what? I think that the mistakes that Gunther made were egregious, okay? Were egregious. But that decision should have been made before, because the same mistakes were there the year before, all right? But I remind you, when we started out the year, more often than not, the Raiders got their defensive act together when we were 6-2. We had a nice balance. We stopped the Saints. Remember that? So he says, I'm very disappointed we don't get Riggs more involved. I am too. We have this drug of we got to throw deep, but you can throw it short to him. Definitely got to cut Arnett on defense. Yep. And do you think they should have a higher Gruden or maybe a younger head coach? I don't think youth has anything to do with it. I think John is great at structuring and teaching offenses. And I think he's really built Derek Carr into a top flight passer who can be dangerous. Okay. The Raiders' problems are defense oriented. If we had a defense that was ranked even in the middle, we would have been to the playoffs a bunch of times. All right. With that offense. That's a high octane offense. It's played like a high octane offense. The trouble is we have a defense that gives up yardage in big chunks to other offenses and makes those offenses look like high octane offenses. Okay. So I'm very disappointed we don't get Riggs. Yeah, got that one. The drafting has been terrible with all that capital. The drafting, I think this year wasn't so great. The year before, last year, was good. The trades have been okay. But it's coaching I'm focusing on. Coaching is the problem, right? A lot of great players have come through the Raiders and left. Tammy says the Niners need to hire a better defensive coordinator, Rex Ryan, Wade Phillips. I'm not sold on Rex Ryan. Wade Phillips is retired. He's had his day. I kindly suggest that you look at what Derek Mason did at Vanderbilt or Stanford when he was the best defensive coordinator in the country. He's available. There's Jim Mitchell with the Steelers, who's the assistant head coach. There's a whole wealth of people around. We talked about Derek Ainsley at Tennessee, who was a Raider with the Raiders. There are a lot of great young defensive coordinators who'd be great to come to the Raiders. Those names have had their day. And I'm not saying that because they've had their day or because they're, up there. That's wrong. I'm saying that, and I want to make this clear, because they don't have requisite experience at stopping the read option. Okay? That's why I say that. All right? Says the Niners, I agree with you about COVID, but everybody else is dealing with COVID. I understand that, but my point is that the league didn't foster an environment where everybody's environment was the same. You could have fans in some places, others not. That's wrong. Okay? That's not. Mason would be an excellent DC. Yep. Definitely a defensive issue. And call Wade Phillips. Nah, forget Wade Phillips. Wade Phillips does not have experience stopping the read option. You show me where Wade Phillips has stopped the read option. I can show you where Derek Mason has. This is YouTube. It's all over. All you got to do is look. Okay? The only reason you mention Wade Phillips is because the media has him out there and he's been on, all right? And you've seen him in the past. But it also means you haven't watched enough football at the college level to see what coaching talent is out there that should be in the league, and it means you haven't been looking at what the league has done with other young defensive coordinators and assistants around the league. That's a bad thing, man. You got to become more contemporary there. Who do you think the next defensive coordinator going to be? Who? If I had to, Raheem Morris. I think that's just off the top of my head. I'm not saying that's my selection, but I have a feeling that Raheem is going to be the Raiders' next defensive coordinator. He's a friend of John's. Okay. He's built good defense. They both have coached similar stops. And something tells me he just may be that guy. Now, is he the best for the candidate for the position? No, Derek Mason's much better. But you asked me a question, I gave you an answer. So I like Greg Olson's ability to teach the precision passing game. I am not at all unhappy with this offense. It did a great, do you realize, this is self-serving, but I'll tell you, do you realize the Raiders used for much of this season toward the later end, the plays that I gave John at the NFL annual meeting in 2019 in Orlando? Yep. Okay. And so that's cool. I mean, I can't say enough about how cool that is. I said Orlando, but but it's cool. It's cool. They worked. And what were those plays? They were the motion across, and then just as the motion gets across, the play starts. The halfback is here. Either hand off here or roll, throw here. Okay, that sweep action is what I gave John on paper. So, and the reason I did it was because I felt that the Raiders should design movement into their offense rather than trying to draft a movement quarterback, right? In other words, you have a quarterback in Carr that's mobile, design the mobility in. That was the idea. And so Gruden had Will Kiss wait for me in the lobby there at the hotel in Orlando, all right? So, and that was, see something here. Yeah, that was wow. That was that was a lot of fun. That was a ton of fun. A ton of fun. I think that, and I think also I thought maybe it'll be a one and done, like you use it, and I said 2019, but the NFL annual meeting was actually in 2018 in Orlando. 2019, we switched over back to to Arizona, Biltmore. So, but 2018. That was when I gave Gruden those plays. And he had Will Kiss wait for me in the lobby. That place has gotten around. All right. So I got too far away from your comment here there. Okay. Offensive coordinator. We need solid defensive tackles. I agree the coaching defense. Would Mason want to come here? I would be surprised if Derek would not want to come. I would be surprised. I only watch Cal football. I get you. Go Bears. Go Bears. But as a person who's followed Cal football since, the 70s, 80s? I grew up, right? Derek Mason gave us a lot of fits with his Stanford defense. Bring back old Jack Del Rio. Why not? But I will bluntly say this. A lot of great time is spent bringing back older white male coaches, and we always complain about the same small set or talk about them. And it's not right to have innovators, young defensive innovators out there not getting their shot in the league. Okay? Derek Mason is one of those people, and he's black. And we have to get over this subconscious thing where we don't say someone is white. We just say a name of a person who happens to be white, and we think that they're good because they've been in the system, when arguably they're coach killers. For example, has Jack Del Rio been tied to a particular defensive innovation? No. In fact, he copied the Seattle defense. That wasn't his Seattle. That wasn't his. That was Pete Carroll, right? So, and again, I love Jack. Jack Del Rio is a great guy. He's got a fantastic charity in Hayward. But I'm also being honest about the problems we have in terms of moving young. It doesn't make sense to have a league. We have 70% of the players black, and then most of the coaches white. When in point of fact, all these folks are smart, regardless of whether they're players or coaches. Give the players who played for you a chance. Give those young graduate assistants who are black, who had that idea that you used, but didn't give credit for, the chance to prove their mettle. Why not? Because here's the thing. The more you look at who has done what, the more you find out about how the game has changed, and the more you become a student of the football game rather than sort of mouthpiece for the media, right? It's a big difference. So, but again, I love Jack Del Rio. He's a great guy. Would always run into him at Sam's in Tiburon. Great family. His son, I remember once says, "Hey, that guy is pointing at you. I think you know him." That was funny. We need to look at young. Yeah, that's all I'm saying, right? Tammy says, the Broncos fire Vic Fangio. This Raiders should snatch him up. No. And I'm not, and that again, that's not a whole, and I'll be blunt with you. The Vic Fangio thing, that's not because he's a white guy, an old white guy. No. I've never been sold that Vic Fangio's coaching abilities, either defensively or overall. Okay? I just haven't. He got his great shot to be a coach, fine. But defensively, I was never particularly sold on his acumen either. That's just me. You want to tell me something schematically I may have missed? I'm willing to listen, okay? I will listen till the cows come home. I will watch the tape. I will look at the playbook. But I have to be sold. I'm just saying, I have to be sold, okay? The Falcons should keep more. See, that's where I think Raheem is a fantastic coach, but I think Raheem has kind of some of John's problems in terms of inflexibility that I believe have hampered the Falcons. If you're going to take over as interim and you get that chance, man, you better coach your butt off. And I'm not saying he didn't do that, but when you come into you've been with a team the entire season. Listen to this. Listen to me here, okay? You've been with a team the entire season. You mean to tell me that you don't know to put yourself in a position where your team has a power running game, where you can muscle down the clock, and instead you're calling play action, getting intercepted, not getting 3 and outs. You're 20 points up. Next thing you know, your offense is throwing. Your defense is not able to stop because they're tired. So they get put on the field again, give up another touchdown. You come back again, try to throw deep when they're not letting you throw deep. They're sacking you rather than just designing a running play with misdirection that can muscle down the clock. And what happens? You give up your big chunk lead and you lose. And that's happened to the Falcons again and again and again. And what's this, old thing about going to the well once too often? The Falcons did that in a bad way under Morris. They did it in a worse way when Dan Quinn, who I think personally is an awesome guy, and I'm really sorry that what happened to him happened, got fired. But look, the problem was that at a certain point, Dan's a great DC, could wind up with the Raiders, but his defenses are plagued by that problem of not being able to stop the read option and that wide gap problem that I talked to you about. So if DC gets hired, it will be because of what he did in Seattle and in part in Atlanta, but it comes with an amazing price. And whatever team hires him has to deal with his defenses that do not effectively control the gaps. I'm just saying. Can he change it that? Of course he can. But I'm just saying. Is he a great teacher? Absolutely. Is he a great person? The best. He's a mensch. Okay? Just saying. Now you would say, Zinni, what about your whole thing about African Americans coach? Yeah. But Dan Quinn is a guy who gets it socially. And so I will stand behind him as a soldier. Okay, he is a person who gets it. He is a modern American culture person. I think Dan Quinn is an awesome man. Period. End of story. I would like to have seen David Shaw with the Raiders take John's job. Yeah, but you know what? The reason why I think Dave is there, who I also love. In fact, do you realize? Let me tell you guys something. I pray for the people in Nashville, but every time I watch that scene of the explosion, that street that occurred on, do you know what was going on across the street from that van a year ago during the NFL draft? During the NFL draft, the NFL draft was in Nashville, right there. And guess what? If you take a look at that video with the explosion on the lower left-hand corner of the video, which is over here, all right? Get this, all right? I probably should show it, but the whole point is, let me find that. I'm going to find that to show you. I can show you. This is because this trips me out, folks. It just does. Hold on a second. This is kind of like, oh man, you got to be kidding me. But I want to show you just how weird, okay, life is. Oh, by the way, and it's this Nashville explosion. Yeah, there it is. Okay. Trying to find that one with the car. And if I can find it in a timely, here it is. All right, let me find that. And let me freeze this. And yeah. Real quick here, folks. And bear with me. Go here. Go out here. Excuse me. Go here. Go out here. Go out here. Come on, it's not. StreamYard's supposed to allow me to. There it is. There it is. All right. Okay, right here. All right. Okay, this, folks. This is where the NFL draft was, but I want to show you this. This just trips me out. It's right about here. All right, I'm going to stop that right here. You see where it says chilling? You see this? Let me get this. Okay, I thought that bumper was going to go away, but it hasn't. So I want to point out something to you. Just where it says breaking news, or when it reads breaking news right there, okay? Just above you see that number? That was the entrance to the NFL media luncheon for the draft. Yeah, we were down there, right there, okay? Can you imagine a year before? Now, that wouldn't have happened. Why? Because you would not have been able to drive through there during the draft. The NFL had 32 blocks controlled. I had a check-in card as press. Other than that, you couldn't get in, okay? So I'm just saying I looked at the, holy cow, we were at just a weird thing, a sad thing, weird thing. And I don't know what that outcome is going to be. Anyway, I'm about to share that. Also, I happened to see, while I'm at it, the Dolphins. You want to hear what?
That's short of
the other ones. Listen.
First down marker. 45 yards in the first half, only 3.5 per attempt. Only one pass more than 10 yards. Dolphins down 13-6 at the half. Okay, make some adjustments. Maybe get the running game.
Now look at that. Look at that. Did you see that slash? Look how we got slashed. We got gashed there when we got away from the gap control. I mean, look. Okay, see that? We went away from the look at that. We went away from the bear look, and we went to our traditional look. All right. And we got gashed.
Comes down 13-6 at the half. Okay, make some adjustments. Maybe get the running game going. Oh, Gaskin can do that. Cross midfield, gain of 24. Later, 2nd and 8 from the 10. Tua, short screen pass. Gaskin, get in there. He does. All right. Move the ball down the field. Again, short passes, but that's pretty much what they've been looking for Tua most of the time. Game tied at 13. Derek Carr. Thought he might have been done for the year when we saw him come up lame, but he got in there despite the leg injury. Darren Waller made all kinds of circus catches. 2nd consecutive season with 1,000 receiving yards. That led to another Raider field goal. They kicked too many field goals in this game. They could have put it away. 16-13. So Brian Flores says, you know what, Tua, I don't sense any magic. So I got a guy who can perform magic. 3rd and 5. First down. That's what we want to do. Gesicki. By the way, the Raiders were 0 for 10 on 3rd down. 0 for 10. But they're still winning, 16-13. Again, good pass over the middle. He can play fast. He knows where to go, Tua said after the game. Dolphins kick a field goal after Fitzpatrick there overthrows Gesicki. They had it there. So now it's 16-16. You see 4th quarter, under 4 to go. Carr, 1st and 20. All kinds of time. Looking. Where's he going? Aguilar catches, and he's gone. What? Reverses field. And just like that on 1st and 20, Carr to Aguilar, and the Raiders are looking good. Up by 6, but they missed the extra point. Plenty of time for Fitzpatrick. But guess what? He does it right away to Gaskin, who does all the work. Great block on the outside. He goes 59 yards. And just like that, the magic is back. They kick the extra point and lead by 1, but plenty of time for Derek Carr. 3 timeouts, 2-minute warning. Just got to complete the ball down the field or go deep. Double coverage, late double coverage, incomplete, but a flag. Looked like the right call. Tug on the shoulder to make the jump. And a big play for the Raiders. They can milk this clock down. They could have scored a touchdown. They decided not to. That's 3rd and goal there. And so they're going to come out, kick a field goal, which they do. There's 19 seconds left, no timeouts left. 99.9% probability to win the game. Just stay away from the big play. Fitzpatrick, this is one of the throws of the year in the NFL. I mean, it didn't look like it there, but when you saw what happened, yeah, they did that to me. They did? They did! He gets the throw off. It's complete, so it's completion plus 15 yards, already in field goal range. They tried one more play to get closer, didn't have to. Winner, chicken parm dinner. Gruden decides to go for the field goal and milk the clock, but in the end, Miami wins.
We felt the play was to eliminate all the clock and all the timeouts and put them back with they're back against the wall with 19 seconds left. I don't regret it. I didn't want Fitzpatrick to have the ball. He was doing a good job in the second half. I didn't want him to be in a 4-down situation. He's a gunslinger. He was hot. That's all I can say. I don't regret it one bit. I just regret the results.
Well, it's always good to win. It always feels good to win, first off. I know outsiders are probably going to say, well, it wasn't you in there that brought the win. Of course, it was Fitz, and I think it was a great effort by not just him, but the entire offense. Just him understanding, how to get in the groove and, where to go quickly with the ball and whatnot. I think, that's what makes Fitz who he is. And, in a way, it really wasn't as shocking tonight, to see what had happened. They call him Fitzmagic for a reason.
Look, I have a lot of confidence in Tua. He's made a lot of plays for us this year. He made plays today. But we just felt like we needed a spark, the way the game was going. And, Fitzy gave us that. But look, we have a lot of confidence in Tua. He's a young player. He's developing. He's improving on a daily basis. He's learning from these experiences. And, we'll be better next week.
Flores is my vote for Coach of the Year for making the hard decisions and really bringing a winning attitude to Miami, their 10th win. And if you could.
Yeah. So it's kind of like, this is.
Them making the playoffs. But just walk me through those last moments of the game and what you thought of the decision not to score.
Well, I think it was the right decision not to score. Basically, you're giving the Dolphins the football back with 19 seconds left on the clock on their own 25-yard line and no timeouts. And if anyone's questioning whether or not it was the right decision by John Gruden, what do you think the Miami Dolphins wanted them to do on earlier downs? They were trying to let Josh Jacobs score. The Dolphins wanted them to score. So if there's any doubt about what each head coach was.
I'll tell you what I disagree with. I gotta, you don't take points off the board. How many times have we heard that? You don't take points off the board. The Raiders took points off the board and it cost them. Okay. I understand they're trying to run down the clock and everything, but there is a psychological satisfaction achieved when one scores a touchdown late in the game. It's like fini, okay? A field goal is like, okay, you're up by a little bit. And remember, my mom was saying, hey, they lost the extra point and gave them a chance. So this story, because I thought my mom was going to come up, she has some great things to say. This story is about the Raiders giving the Dolphins chance after chance to win, and the Dolphins taking those chances psychologically, okay? We kept feeding them. Miss an extra point, you give them a chance. Think too much, and you know what I mean? Okay, Tammy's, yeah, see what I'm saying? It's man. It's just yeah. No other way to describe it than that. It's maddening to watch it again and just see that, and then somebody say, "Oh, you should have done that," and I think this and I think that, and I'm like, yeah. Let's hear what Fitzmagic has to say.
Bathroom so bad that I had to go during the game, and so I ran in there to take a pee, and then I came back out. And when I came back out, Flo said, "Hey, get ready, you're going in." So I took the obligatory 7 warm-up throws and went out there and tried to make something happen.
Kind of an odd warm-up.
Like a middle reliever, right?
Did I hear that just...
Listen, backup life is...
Did I hear... Wait a second. Did I hear what I just thought I heard? Let me just go back and just play that one more again, as they say. I want to know that I actually heard what I just heard. Hold on a second.
The tunnel thing was weird because this is the first time in my 16-year career I've had to go to the bathroom so bad that I had to go during the game. And so I ran in there to take a pee, and then I came back out. And when I came back out, Flo said, "Hey, get ready, you're going in." So
basically, he went to get his flow on, and Flo put him in after he got his flow on. I got it. I'm sorry, folks. I couldn't resist. Oh, my Lord. Steve says, who do you think will be our defense coach? I think it'll be Raheem Morris. I still like you have that funny despite the loss. You got to have, hey, look, I'm 58. I've seen so many of these. I will tell you, it's not funny. I remember, because I'm also a big Tom Landry, Dallas Cowboys fan, although I like Jerry Jones, but Super Bowl 13, I keenly recall like it happened before, Jackie Smith just dropping. I mean, it was, it just hurts. It hurts to think about it to this day, but Jackie Smith dropped a sure touchdown pass in the end zone against the hated Steelers. And I was so upset. I turned the TV off and I could not at all watch the rest of that game. I just didn't care. I really was like, that didn't happen, did it? And it did happen. I remember us losing to the Broncos the first time when they had the Orange Crush, and I was tired of hearing about the Orange Crush defense and Lyle Alzado and Randy Gradishar and all those dudes. But so I mean, when you talk about hurt, this is the kind of hurt. Okay, I'm gonna show you. This is the kind of hurt that that you never forget. It's like it's in your throat, and it's like, oh, that. And you're a kid. I was a little kid, okay? I was like, what, 16 at the time? Yeah. So teenager. But this play will be forever, ever indelibly inked in my brain. And this is the Dallas Cowboys, the team that actually got me interested in football because Tom Landry apply engineering and feedback and control theory to football, all right, that got me interested in football.
And they're behind. And they're going to throw. He's got it wide open. Drop. Veteran Jackie Smith.
That hurts. To this freaking day, that freaking hurts. You want to know the other thing that hurts? I'll show you, okay? Remember Haven Moses of the Broncos against the Raiders in that 74-yard touchdown pass? All right, that he caught against us. That was way back in 1977. And I've never forgot that in my entire life. And it hurts to this day. Just looking through it, I'm hoping I don't find it because it gives me a lump in my throat. All right. Broncos. And it was the AFC Championship game that sent the Broncos to play the Dallas Cowboys in Super Bowl 12. All right. Tom Jackson was part of that. And I remember thinking Tom Jackson is going to be is going to be a calling football. I thought, I'm not going to watch ESPN. Forget, I hate Tom Jackson. Now, actually, I like Tom Jackson, I mean, there are, when you're a Raider, a longtime Raider fan, there are plays you just don't get out of your system. You just don't. And that's one of them. I can't find it, and thank God I can't find it, okay? I mean, thank God I can't find it. I am so happy. I can't find it. I'm happy. I mean, that hurt. The first game of the emergence of the Broncos that year, and I went to the Coliseum, and the Broncos had popularized the 3-4 along with the Houston Oilers, as we called them then, and they're playing 3-4, but 4 linebackers, 4 defensive backs. So they're playing a classic 4x4, okay, zone. It gave Ken Stabler fits. We got intercepted 4 times that day, folks. And he got sacked a bunch. It was ugly because at those days we didn't have, in terms of football technology, the idea of sliding your guard out to pick up the outside linebacker was foreign to people. The Cowboys weren't even doing it then. You can watch the video for Super Bowl 12, and you can see it. Because, boy, the Broncos had Randy Gradishar coming this way, and then they had, what was the other guy's name? Forgot. Going the other way. Oh, they had all kinds of twisting blitzes that today are really easy to handle. But then running backs in the flats, they weren't doing much of. There were some things the Cowboys were doing, and I was telling Dan Quitt about him when I saw him at the Combine this year. That was really impressive. I said, because I said to him, I said, hey, Coach, watch those tapes from the Cowboys in 78 and 77 and 78, because they had a nifty fullback fake, quick pass to the tight end over the middle that could be deployed today that I thought was perfect for the Falcons. But my point is that what the Broncos did to us that day at the Coliseum was just ugly. Ugly. Absolutely ugly. It says Bill Callahan changed. Yeah, he really did. And Tony sat on Gannett's head. He says, I have a Blake Crave, Jack Tatum. Oh, Jack Tatum. Hey, you know what? Tammy, you haven't been here for me to talk about this. I was there when Jack Tatum hit Darryl Stingley. August 16th, 1976. Preseason game. Stingley had 148 yards receiving the first half. He was killing us. Preseason game. In the near end zone watching it. In the days when we had, this is before the Raiders went to LA. We had the bleachers where if you were dating a girl, hopefully. Okay. All right. Anyway, 32 goes across my binocs. I heard a resounding crack. That was it. That was it. Okay. Super cool says, good Lord, I was 4 years old. So, no Barrett Robinson or yeah, Yeah, that hit was BS. It was. So, folks, I could talk all night. The rest of the night is 1:40.5. I've been up for almost 2 hours. And I'll be back. This is fun. Fun stuff. Yeah. A good way to recover from a sad loss. Anybody got any parting thoughts before I sign out? Yeah, I'll be back tomorrow because we have to recap who else has done what to see what kind of chance we are going to have. What's up, Raiders SP? What's up? Thank you. So I should call Gruden. Oh, love the show. Hey, man, thank you. You guys made it for me. I love taking these comments and putting them up here. It's just a great exchange, I love it so that somebody could, and maybe I should do that one day where your person has a link and they want to get on and talk, because I can have up to 10 people in here. Would anybody like that? If you could actually just get on your camera and make a comment. If anyone would like that, just give me a wave or a hand or a thumbs up or a yes, something like that. I can have up to 10 people in here for a group. I'm going to do it with my people, okay? Raiders SP says he's done watching the league. But I'm going to have my bloggers in again to do that. But I'd like to open it up a bit just to have anybody who wants to make a comment on video rather than, just typing. Oh, well, I don't see any enthusiastic reaction. So I guess everybody likes to write. I like to talk. I like to vlog stuff, it's like talking. Thank you, Kenny G. I appreciate that, man, very much. I appreciate it. So if anybody has any thoughts or ideas, says thank you very much. Thank you. Cool. Thanks. Yeah, thank you, Tammy. Thank you. Thank you. Super cool. I need a cell number. You got it? So NBA back is a good thing. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. It is. All right. So if you have any ideas, my Zinni at Zinni62.com is I I'm just so tired, man. I gotta go down and see how my mom is doing. I thought she was gonna come up and join me. She really loves football. She knows the game better than I do. Kid you not. All right, I'll see you all later. All right, bye. Thanks. Good night, everybody. See ya.